Hey, NFA Money Mamas. Before we get started, I want to invite you to be a guest on the Woman Entrepreneur podcast. I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to record a biz breakdown session, focusing on actionable ideas that will help you scale your business more easily by getting into your zone of manifestation. You would be an ideal guest if you are a full-time woman entrepreneur with a service-based business and are in action scaling to the next level. This biz breakdown session is 100% free, so head on over to www.thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your biz breakdown session today. Hello, NFA, no fucking around, money mamas. It's time for another episode of the Women Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we're doing a business breakdown session with Lisa Dickie. And this is so fun because I reached out to her on Instagram. I loved what I saw on her feed. And then she ended up listening to the podcast. We didn't actually have a ton of conversation on Instagram. She just started listening to the podcast and liked it and enrolled in a biz breakdown session. And as you all know, if you've been listening for a little bit, these sessions are fun and playful. It's about you coming on and highlighting your business and then also getting tips and strategies to help you scale faster. They're organic, playful conversations that are meant to help you step into your zone of genius and love building your business more and, of course, make more money. My name is Dr. Amanda. I'm the money healer, and I'm always focused on helping you have money breakthroughs where you start to heal your relationship to money, feel good about money, so that you can strategically manifest from your zone of manifestation. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm so excited to have Lisa on. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, we're going to get into the juice of your business, but first I want to ask you, if I were to give you a magic wand, what would you choose to create in your business in 2023?
I would have a digital life skills course launched in January 2023 and possibly and then relaunch it again in September. So so the idea first is for the course to have a live virtual component where we'd have weekly Zoom classes, but eventually I'd like to have it as just a recorded evergreen class for those who want just a life skills course to go through.
Okay.
So that would be my goal, is to have a big ticket virtual item on my roster.
Okay. So I have so many questions because, looking at your business, I know that your business name, tell us a little bit about your business and how long you've been in business. And then that way I can piece together some good questions for you to help you get aligned.
For sure. So I'm coming up to my 5-year anniversary next week.
Congratulations.
So, I've had the business 5 years, and it started, it hasn't changed that much. But the notion was I'm not a chef, but I'm a self-taught cook, and I love cooking and food. And so I decided to create a cooking school that would provide an opportunity for kids to learn how to cook and adults to learn how to cook in a pretty low-key, easy atmosphere. So you basically, if you want to learn how to make pasta, if you want to learn vegan cooking, if I can cook it, then I'll teach you to cook it. And of course, like most service-based businesses, COVID created a huge shift in the business because it was closed on and off for a couple of years. And I remember early on someone saying, well, I wonder if you would do like virtual classes. And I immediately thought, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's dumb. And then I realized it doesn't seem actually that dumb. Like you should probably figure it out. Actually, it's not. And it turns out it's not dumb. And it kind of opened the door for me didn't even occur to me that I could provide classes virtually. And so that was a nice big step. And so I've also created within that a few little standalone classes, like an Indian cooking class and a dessert making class that's completely virtual. And my goal is to to move more in that area, because really, for the most part, I don't get paid unless I'm working ever, really. And it's kind of, so to sort of to make enough of an income, it's a lot of work all the time.
Yeah. Okay. And okay, so the life skills course that you're talking about to launch in January and September, is that life skills meaning cooking, or tell me more about that course?
So the other kind of side niche I have within my business is that I have a background as a special education teacher.
Okay.
And early on in my business, I created a relationship with the Down Syndrome Association of Toronto and offered in-person cooking classes for that community. And that kind of blossomed into a really stable niche in my business. So I offer classes through the Down Syndrome Association, virtual classes and in-person classes. Plus, I just offer a bunch on my own for adults who are neurodiverse. So typically, people with autism or mild intellectual disability or Down syndrome who are looking to learn not only to cook, that's one of the life skills, but to learn the basics of what would be a basic meal, like what are the components of a meal, how to plot out a meal, how to choose fruit and vegetables, where do you get fiber, like basic nutrition, why would you keep your raw meat on a different cutting board than your vegetables? How do you clean up properly? How long can you keep food in the fridge? How do you look at a best before date? So all of those things that would assist people in gaining confidence to either live on their own in assisted living, or just be able to have some autonomy and agency, just to have the opportunity to try to cook for themselves and take care of themselves. Just because, and two, that community, in particular, if you're talking about the Down syndrome community, because of advancements in medicine and services, a lot of people with Down syndrome are outliving their parents in a way that wasn't the case 30 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so you have a population of capable adults who need the opportunity to build skills and confidence so that they can have a fruitful midlife and later life.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I was so curious because when I was reading through your information that you gave me when we were doing this session, I'm like, wow, that's a really niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is in the States. I'm not that familiar with it, but in Canada, so basically, if you are a young adult with an intellectual disability or neurodiversity, just as a blanket statement, you have basically access to schooling until you're 20, 21, depending on the board and depending on what's available in your community, right? And then after that, it's pew.
Yeah.
You're
on your own.
And if your parent is not really versed in how to advocate and really up on grant access or payment access or programming, or just you need to be, if you have a child who has exceptional needs and you're a parent who's intimidated by that system, it falls directly on your kids' shoulders, right? Like you need to have it's like a part-time job to be an advocate for your kids.
I'm sure. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Okay. And so when people take your courses, either in person or online, is it parents that are purchasing the courses, or is it the individuals themselves?
So in the case it's the parents, I'm going to say all across the board. Okay. Parents are either purchasing for their school-age children, or parents are purchasing for their neurodiverse.
Okay. As well. And so then you gear the course though towards, so the parent is the buyer, but then the neurodiverse individual is who's taking the course. And so do you tailor the courses to those individuals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So playful fun, and the teaching strategies to help them be able to move through the course well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my general approach is that, of course, we use recipes, but my end goal is to have people look in their pantry and be like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I can make something. I can make something that's pretty good, or I might even make something that's great. But where I want people to not feel like, you go by the book, you've got all the ingredients, and now you can do something that, like, lots of, obviously different with baking's a different beast, but with cooking, soups.
Yeah, it's like, have some fun.
Yeah, soup's got a lot of options for soup.
And
that's I want people to sort of understand the fundamentals, like, how do you cut an onion? Why do you need oil? And then now you've got onions and oil. You're like halfway to a great meal.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating. This is so intriguing. Okay. So then I know you said it was an 8-week life skills course. So a segment of it is cooking, and then there are other parts to the course as well.
Yeah. So everything from when should you throw out your kitchen sponge?
Okay. But everything's related to the kitchen and cooking.
So some on budgeting as well. Like, how much does this cost? How would you, if you had this many dollars, how could you apportion it?
Okay. Got it. So like a grocery shopping, like, how are you? Okay. So that's much clearer to me. I wasn't sure. The name, to me, the term life skills is broader. Okay. And so I was thinking, narrow that down, because it's confusing to go. In my mind, I thought you're teaching, like, maybe, how to, it could be many things when you say life skills. So I would definitely choose a name that is much more clear about, it's like fundamentals, it's foundational skills, something but related to kitchen and cooking and budgeting around food. Yeah. So I would have a name that really indicates that, because a lot of people won't know what you mean by life skills.
Okay.
So that's really important. And that was one thing I was like, I thought, well, that's confusing, because everything on your website, which is so awesome, of course, is related to cooking. So I thought, is she going a different direction with her business? And so that clarification is important. For those of you who are on YouTube. Yeah. For those of you who are new to it, I have her website up. It's called Dickie's Cooking School. So if you go to dickiescookingschool.com, beautiful website. She's got live classes, kids camp, virtual, on demand, parties. And if you scroll through her website, she's got some really great stuff, and it's designed in a really pleasing way aesthetically, and it draws you in. There's holiday cookie party and fun releases. Of course, those of you who aren't in Ontario, you can still do some of the virtual stuff. And so, I'm just scrolling through. She's got yummy, easy, fast lunches, online Indian cooking course, online dessert course. These sound so fun. I'm like, ooh, I'm hungry. Okay. Yep. So 15 pantry essentials. So I see. So this course is going to be, it's like cooking 101. I would start playing with ideas around that, like cooking and kitchen, because if you're talking about budgeting around, how do you reverse engineer from a certain budget and then decide what you're going to buy based on that? Those are incredible skills. So I see why you're saying life skills, because it's the fundamentals of it.
Yeah. I guess because the other thing I want to do is give people an opportunity to say, okay, this is your grocery list for the week.
Yeah.
What can you do with this?
Yeah.
How do you plan your meals so you've got a meal and then a little bit of a gap for, like, that meal is going to carry you. Maybe you got a lunch left over, or you can use a portion of that to, because I feel like people underestimate, if you grow up in a home where those skills are modeled all the time. Yep. People really underestimate how the degree to which that's just absorbed. Like, you just take on what either your mom or your dad does in that way, in the same way, like knowing if your parents are super organized and they know how to plot, how to get out the door. How do I go from getting up to eating to going out the door? If they have those skills down.
Yeah. So you're filling in the gap for people who haven't learned those skills.
Or have never, like, so I know people who, whether they're have neurodiversity or not, are so nervous and have shame around, I don't know how to cook.
Yeah, definitely.
So what?
And it is one of those life skills that really matters, because unless you want to eat out all the time, which gets cost prohibitive, and just as, we want to know how to cook at home well and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
so I'm trying to create a framework where they're like, oh, it makes sense that you feel a little intimidated because there's a lot of moving parts to whether it's picking vegetables, to knowing how to budget, to knowing when something's rotten. There's a lot of things to learn, but you can take it in incremental steps. And you can learn how to fill your pantry so you're not always scrambling.
Lisa, something I want to say to you that I love so much, just hearing you talk about it, it's very clear that you have a lot of inspiration around it, right? Because you have so much information, and you're looking at all the different aspects of why you're creating these courses, which to me is always the basis of a successful program, course, coaching business, whatever business it is you're running. It's like that powerful why behind it, and connects to your zone of genius. And so, just first I want to point that out to you, that it's fun to listen to you, the way that you're thinking about different ideas about it. That's how you'll start to just keep creating and manifesting and connecting with people. So, first I want to say that. Next stage, where would you say are your biggest stuck points it sounds like the stuck points to me, it's not the inspiration or clarity around what you're choosing to do, it's something else. So what are your stuck points right now in building the business part of it?
So big stuck points are, one, I'm burnt out. I'm because between starting the business and COVID, it's just been like constant hustle. And so my attitude is like I say no to almost nothing. Like I'm just like, and in the early years I did everything. Then COVID hit and it was back to doing everything. And so feeling safe enough to kind of delegate, and feeling like there's a part of me that's sort of a little hoardy with money. Like I'm like, well, I don't want, I'm afraid something's going to happen. And so I have weeks where this is an exceptional time of year because it's I do lots of private corporate parties. And so it's exhausting. Like it's exhausting physical work. And then you're like, okay, I have a day off. I have to finish my sales page for my course, not my life. It's not a life skills course anymore. Something else. I got to come up with a name. It's managing time. And then what happens is when that exhaustion creeps in or is there, I just feel physically beat. It really impacts my confidence, really. Like I'm like, because I'll think, oh, this week I'll have the sales page done in, like, I'll just pick up like a random number. I'll have it done in 5 hours. It'll be done. And then the fourth hour, I'm like, it's not done. And so then it's dealing with the emotional roller coaster of balancing. I need to make money now. But I also need to put it on pause. So I can build passive. So I can actually create something, because right now it's just this.
So, okay. So is this, when you say you have corporate contracts for parties, is that you going in and catering and cooking for them?
Yeah. Well, they come to me, they come to my business. And so, and they're like, that's intense. You've got 12 people and they're making pot. Like, those are just long, typical, like, restaurant catering days. They're long days. It's fun. I love cooking.
Do you think you're charging enough for those?
Probably not.
Okay. So, because I want to say, so, have you listened to episode 3 yet? The business scaling roadmap. Okay. Awesome. I figured you did. So, on that business scaling roadmap, you definitely, I don't see the manic imposter zone stuck like you're clear on what you're doing, you enjoy it, you're doing it in the world, your website is awesome, you have business flowing in, it's just not enough yet. You know, that level 2 or zone 2, the over deliver and undercharge, that's where we get really burnt out because we're trying to do it all. And exactly like you're saying, and I know that everyone listening will resonate with this, when you're building something, it's like, okay, I've got to make sure I have cash flow coming in while I'm building things out over time. And it needs to get easier and easier, or this isn't viable.
Yeah. Right now I'm in that I'm 99% of the time, I trade my time for money. That's where I'm at. I do have those completely digital courses.
But they're just not selling yet enough.
I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying I'm not going to retire from them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's say this, and this is something that is interesting in building an online course, is that you do need to have a way to sell a lot of them, or they need to be very high priced.
Yes.
And so those are the tricks. Like a lot of times people go, I've got a $47 course. And I go, well, to get to $100K a year, you're gonna have to sell a lot of those, which means you've got to have either the most incredible organic strategy, you've got to have a huge platform, or you've got to have a way to reach those leads or do paid ads, right? And so, and all of those things are skill sets that need to be learned in order to develop a course that sells really well. And so I think, you know, a few things I'm curious about that I want to help you with is thinking about, okay, right now you're moving into zone 3 because you're going, I value myself more. The main mindset piece of zone 3 is I'm no longer willing to work this hard. I surrender. I got to up my prices and free up my time. Right. Yeah. So you're ready for that shift. So a few things like, would it be possible to charge more for the corporate gigs so that they can fuel and funnel and fund you more so that you have more time?
It would be, well, so first, number one, would it be possible to charge more? 100%.
Okay.
Number two, corporate gigs are really November 15th to December 15th.
Okay.
So that's a window. I mean, sometimes you'll do some in January. Sometimes you might do some before the summer, but for the most part, that's a seasonal uptick.
And is that because it's parties that so when you said it, it's like, are they coming together and they're all cooking together? Or?
Yeah. So a typical one would be, we make pasta, homemade pasta.
Okay.
And then they make a dish, and then usually I'll provide a dessert. They start with a cocktail. We have.
Okay. So it's basically corporations are having you come in for a fun community building. Project. Okay. So this is something I want to just point out that it could definitely and most likely is a limiting belief in your mind that it can only happen in November, December, January. Yeah. Right? Because something I know to be true is that corporations are always looking for community building. So it's the way that you market it that is keeping that stuck in your mind, because probably in the past, that's when you've gotten the easiest gigs doing that. And it's when people are probably reaching out to you to do it. So instead, if you thought about what if I could get, a couple of those, I don't know how labor intensive and time intensive it is, but if you could reverse engineer and go, okay, if I had 1 or 2 of those a month, that gives me my seed money, keeps me floating, gives me a little bit of extra money to build all this other stuff out. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm thinking, and if you took it beyond even corporate thinking, it's like, okay, you're looking at franchises, you're looking at even, small businesses have retreats all the time. Right. And so I want you to start expanding your thinking around who you could access in a marketing way easily to have that, because to me, that's going to be the way that you fund building the other things over time, because courses are not the fastest way to have your ends met. They're an amazing way to have passive streams of income and build it into something bigger over time. And you want to have that floating cash so that you're not burnt out and feeling crazy and scared. Anytime we put our money mindset into a space of fear and survival, it doesn't work well to attract new business, because you're sending out the signal, I'm desperate, I'm scared. And so opportunities don't come your way easily because the universe is like, she's maxed. I don't want to send her anymore because she's already maxed. Her plate is full. And so we want to have a feeling of expansiveness and openness in our money mindset. And so, I'm always looking to go, okay, what already are you good at doing that can generate more cash flow easily to keep fueling it in a fun way, and then building those things out over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
I'm curious, as I say that, do any ideas get generated for you about like, I hadn't thought of it that way. What's possible here?
Yeah, I did. I thought, oh, well, I guess that it would be interesting to position it, because it's my physical space in the school is like 10 to 12 people. Like it would be, it really would facilitate a small, intimate kind of gathering. That would be different than going to a restaurant, obviously. I mean, you can easily go to a restaurant and have a small room and have food brought to you. But if you want to have, anything, if any business is looking to have a small, like a mindful retreat, or let's try something different, a vegan experience or something. It doesn't matter. It really
exactly doesn't. Yeah, it makes me think like yoga studios. It's like yoga studios offering a special retreat, and part of it is learning to cook vegan meals. Or, you think about birthday parties. I think my brain goes for some reason to bachelorette parties. Like, what about like bachelorette parties?
That's a good. I have done those in the past, but I don't. That's not like a.
Yeah. So it's expanding your mind around, who is looking for a unique experience? And to me, people are looking for experience, a community experience. And this could be in corporations and companies. It could be in families. It could be for birthday parties. You could have like a fun kids cooking day for a birthday party. You could there are so many cool things around food, right? We eat all the time, and it can be so enjoyable. And since you already have the setup, it's just a mindset shift for you of going, who else could come and experience what I have? That way, then you have the funding for it, and then you keep building out your courses, because your courses sound amazing too. Another fun option is you have a videographer come in and record some of these parties, have someone record one, and then you have testimonials, and then you attract more through that. Here's the thing. Most people forget to get creative with who they're attracting their way. And you go, if I sent a video to a company, let's say it's even like a small law firm who's looking to do a retreat with their people and have a unique experience that's building in their community culture, their culture of their community, you send them a video and go like, hey, let's come up with a fun idea for your retreat. That alone, it's easy. You send an email, you make a call. And so there, to me, is unlimited potential in your marketplace close to home, right? I'm curious what comes up for you in saying those things.
No, that makes sense. I've never, apart from having a landing page on my site, for corporate parties, I haven't really done a whole lot in terms of marketing to that.
Okay. Would that sound fun to you? Because I always want to be guiding people in their zone of genius. To me, cooking for you is very fun and zone of genius oriented. So it makes sense to.
Yeah, I like doing parties. I like cooking. I could easily zone out for days and just cook.
Okay, fun. Okay, great. So one useful thing to do is, where my brain always goes when I'm listening to people on these biz breakdown sessions is, what's the fastest, easiest path to cash? Yeah. Fastest, easiest path to cash. And I go like, oh, you already have this set up. You already know what you're doing. So now it's just expanding who you are thinking about talking to, right? And then as you're building the courses, same thing. So you want to be thinking, okay, what's the name of the course?
Okay.
Who am I targeting? So you're going to do the same thing when you build those courses. You're going to think of every organization who needs this, because you want to be thinking, where is the target market? Where are they hanging out? And who's going to buy this course? If it's truly the parents of the neurodiverse children, then you got to go, where are they hanging out? I would be thinking like Facebook groups for neurodiverse families, or associations and organizations for neurodiverse families. Start thinking, how am I going to connect there? Because you want to start thinking like big picture. You want to go, how can I sell 100 courses easily? Right.
So that's my plan is to basically launch in the early new year. And so it was sort of that formula where you'd run webinars and then like have a live launch and then roll it out probably around the end of January. And so I was looking at information about how to market a course, because I'm not marketing directly to the end user. I'm marketing.
Yeah.
So I thought, because it's
a different strategy.
It's a little bit of a different strategy. Yeah. I also thought I could market to like community living, like where group homes, basically.
Yeah.
Any community living or assisted living or agency that services people who are in assisted living or community living.
Yep.
Makes sense. But it is a little bit funny because the languaging around it isn't, because obviously when you're writing the sales page, you're trying to speak directly to the buyer. No.
Yeah. Which is where I would say I would hesitate with the webinar process, because exactly as you're saying, the people who are going to buy aren't the ones who are needing the course. Right. So I think it'd be a useful strategy to even direct sales, call the centers that you're thinking of, the community centers, any organization where you go like, okay, these are the people who have access to a lot of the neurodiverse individuals who would want this course. Right. I would start a strategy like that, just direct, it would be faster and easier. And depending, what's the price? Do you have any idea what the price point of your course is?
Yeah, my idea would be was either $9.97 or $11.
Okay. And it's an 8-week course, and you're teaching all the steps throughout the course.
So it's 8. I mean, honestly, the course could go for. The course is dense, so like each module has 5 or 6 lessons. So if you did the live or just opted for the recorded lesson of the week, plus there's depending on the module, there could be 5 or 6 recipes with video component where they can plot through it, plus just exercises and where do you find the price? How do you find the best before date? How do you know how much fiber is in this can? Where would you find information?
Love it. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of great information. Yeah.
But so it's, so someone could take the course and you could spend 6 months on it, just kind of going over the same sort of.
Cool. Good. So it's an ongoing resource for them to keep referring back to.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great.
Want to provide as much information to kind of set them up to kind of plot through it.
Yeah. Okay. So for you and everyone listening, I always want everyone to be thinking, where are my people hanging out?
Okay.
And what's the fastest path? Because what we often do is like, we listen to what everyone else is doing in the industry and think we've got to mimic exactly that. Right. But then we forget, like, is that actually the fastest path? Like a webinar, you've got to still find the people and you got to create a list and a community around it. I've found in business, especially when you are wanting to get something up and running, direct contact is the fastest path, right? Okay. So for example, when I started my business, I went to networking events and directly had conversations with people. Courses take, you want to at some point have it be passive. I agree with you. You've got to first build up the network. You've got to start seeing what works. You got to play with the course and adjust it accordingly. You got to figure out the price point, and you got to figure out where the people are hanging out and how they're going to buy it easily. And so there's a lot of experiment and massaging that goes on until you get, the daydream of what everyone talks about, which is possible, but it doesn't happen as fast as people think to go like, I have a course that's selling like hotcakes overnight while I'm asleep. Like, awesome. Yes. Let's all shoot for that. And you got to build up a funnel that works to create that.
Yeah. My attitude around this course was to launch at least 3 times before and to provide a video, like to provide like weekly live lessons on Zoom, at least also just because this is like, I have this idea for the course and I've done lots of stuff on it, but as we know, the course that you write before it starts
Yeah.
And the course that you teach after you've done a full round is quite different, or it's going to be somewhat different.
Yes.
Right?
So I love your attitude around, you've got the perfect mindset around how to do it. So it works really well when you do it's like a pre-launch of the course, you record it, you practice, you see. So is it possible for you to get 5 people in the first round of the course, or how many people are you focusing on the track?
That's my goal. So I can accept 5. I'd love 10.
Okay.
15 would be fantastic.
Okay. And what's your strategy to get those first 15 in there?
So my strategy is to, number 1, get my sales page done.
Okay.
And laid out.
Yep.
And number 2, I want to start over for the next 6 weeks or 5 weeks through Instagram and Facebook posts, just start planting regular seeds around being feeling confident in the kitchen, feeling a competent or whatever. I'll work on that name. I guess my first step is to get the name.
Yes.
Then plant seeds. And then in January, I was going to do 3 webinars just talking around building skills in the kitchen. And building.
It won't hurt to do the webinar. That's great. Do it and do a direct marketing strategy as well.
Yeah. And then I do the direct marketing. So I have a few organizations that I could contact and say, I'm launching this course. Do you want to find out more information? There are a number of organizations like that in Toronto for sure.
Awesome. Okay.
And also move out beyond, because it's not limited to Toronto, because there's no in-person component. So basically look at community organizations in Ontario to start.
Good. Okay.
And then and then I thought, well, I should probably bite the bullet and think about doing advertising, some paid advertising on Instagram, or especially Facebook, or Google. But I'm always a little bit like, really, is that just like throwing money into a hole?
I would say I generally tell people not to until they have a lead flow that works really well, because you usually are throwing money away, because unless you know that you are getting people to a funnel that works and converts powerfully, you could be wasting your money. If you were going to do an ad, I would do it to the webinar, not to the course.
Right.
Yeah. And if you were you could experiment like a couple dollars a day. I would not be dumping a whole bunch of money into it until you figure out. I would say first find the people organically and with direct sales strategy, get that round of 15. Then you have case studies, and then ads will work better, because when you send them to the page, they'll see a lot of evidence and support and, that social proof piece. So I generally don't, some people might disagree with me, but I've never paid for ads yet in my business. And I've had years of 6 figures, and so to scale, yes. And I have lots of systems down now that make sense to use ads. And I still use direct strategies. I pay for strategies, but I still don't use ads, because I think it can be unless you really, really know what you're doing and you have a really powerful process, it could be wasting money.
Okay. So the other thing was that to go back to where you said where people are hanging out, is to look at Facebook groups, to sort of slowly introduce myself onto those areas now, to say, yes, you could learn to make cookies with me, but I can definitely teach your kid how to make soup. I know I can do that.
Yes, which that's fun. Okay. And so what you do there strategically is you just find, I wouldn't say more than 5, because you can't show up powerfully, but I say 1 to 3 usually, Facebook groups that have lots of the people you're looking for. Like that is your target market. And you go, those are my 5-star people, and I'm going to get really active in those 3 groups. And so you go for 1 hour a day and you get active in each of those groups. And what I mean by active, you're sharing value, you're commenting on people's posts, you're getting them to know, like, and trust you. Then you share, oh, I just created a recipe for this. Oh, I know, I love helping kids learn how to make soup. You're planting seeds and you're getting people to start to reach out to you. This is, I call it, client attraction marketing versus pushy sales.
Right.
Marketing. Right. And so when you do that, you'll be surprised. And then you can start having direct conversations. You'll notice people's posts and you make a comment, you have a solution. They reach out to you on a DM. And so it's just spending the time and getting really laser focused. Where are my people hanging out? What's the fastest path to get them into my webinar and into the course, into a conversation with me? Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Awesome. Okay. I just gave you tons of downloads. I'm curious, action step wise. So I know you've already labeled it, so I don't want you to have to say it again, but we're going to go name, come up with a really clear name.
Okay.
Sending people to the webinar. So you're finishing your landing page, sending people to the webinar, and a direct marketing sales strategy. On top of that, I really want you to be thinking about how can you get a constant flow of easy money into your gigs where you have like the corporate parties, more parties like that. So you have monthly cash flow, so you're not feeling so stressed out.
Yeah.
That part needs to be taken care of as fast as possible. So I would focus simultaneously on those two things.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, wonderful. Cash flow is always like, ugh.
Yeah. And I don't want you to feel that way. And everybody feels that way. When you don't have a way to make quick, easy, fast cash, it's stressful. Business is stressful. So you've always got to be going, what's my go-to strategy to make sure I have cash flow every month to build all this other stuff out over time? Yeah. And so I want you to, I could see a lot of fun visions for you for doing that, for building those parties.
Yeah, I also had recently a local high school teacher contacted me. So she has a class of students with mild intellectual disability. And so they're coming in to do a cookie work. Like they're going to make cookies and package them and sell them at the school. And they want to do like a series of 5 classes. And I thought that could also be a really great connection with schools because they're coming in the daytime and and
something you could do is send all of the kids home with a flyer to give to their parents, right?
Oh, that's
because
smart.
Then those parents are going to be the ones that are going to buy the course. That's how you want to be thinking. Like, ooh, when my people are in front of me, how do I get the parents to see more?
Right.
So that could be a really easy way. You could have a card, like a postcard size thing that has a QR code. Mm-hmm. And QR codes. Do you know how to make QR codes for free?
I think so. I think it's on Canva.
It is. Yes. So super easy. Just make a QR code with a descriptor and have information. They could, set it up where it's like they can either watch the webinar that's pre-recorded or they could do a consult with you. I was even thinking you could do like parties with the families. Like it's fun for families to cook together.
Yeah.
So there's, the sky's the limit. I'm so excited for you. Like, this is what's so fun for me is to think of like organic ways to grow your business. And so I start envisioning it in my mind. I can see you doing all these things. I'm like, yes. Awesome. Easy money flow is coming your way. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. What would you say is key takeaway for you today?
Change my name. Okay. Not my personal name. Yes. That has been suggested before. I've had so many, why would you call it Dickie's? And
like, hey, it's my name. I rock it out.
I hated it forever. And now I'm like, well,
own
it. Now I'm just going to own it. Exactly. Yeah. Change the name. Find 3 Facebook groups that I could rub elbows with consistently.
Okay.
Give them something and finish my sales page. And then, of course, make a list of organizations that I could direct market this.
Perfect. You got it. I'll be checking on you and finding out what's happening. So you'll be looking for that. Thank you so much I appreciate it so much when women come on here because I love, of course, sharing value with you. And you're also sharing value with the women who are listening because people are struggling with all the things that you're talking about, right? Like, how do I get over this overwhelm problem? What's the most strategic path to cash? How do I get to live in my zone of genius and have fun making money? All of these things matter to everyone who's listening. So thank you for being willing to come on and share.
Oh, thanks. This is super fun. It's wonderful. I was sort of like, this seems pretty too good to be true. And it's really great.
Thank you. Okay. And everyone who is listening here, be sure to connect with Lisa on dickiescookingschool.com. And I'm going to spell it DICKIES and then cookingschool.com. She's also on Instagram, which is where we met. What's your Instagram handle?
I think it's Dickie's Cooking School.
I think it is too, but let's look. Let's make sure because we want people to connect with you there. She has a ton of fun, cool stuff. I'm going to pull it up so we can make sure that you can connect.
It is Dickie's Cooking School.
Okay. What perfect. Okay, so go to Dickie's Cooking School on Instagram and connect with Lisa. If you like what you got here today, take a screenshot as you're listening and post it on the social media accounts, whatever's your favorite, and tag us in it. My tag is at NFA Money. Of course, you all know my business is No Fucking Around Money, so NFA Money is my handle on all the social media platforms. Also connect with Lisa. Thank you for being here. And as always, I like to remind you that if you're interested in coming on for a biz breakdown session on the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast, just go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and you'll see right on the page a biz breakdown session button. Click on it, enroll, and I'll have you on and we'll have a chat just like we did today with Lisa. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you. It was great.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, I'm sending you big hugs and NFA money-making high fives. Hey, friends. Just a quick reminder that I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to do a biz breakdown session with me on this show, just like the one that you heard on today's episode. Think of this as a zone of manifestation audit to help you scale your business and make money more easily. During our recorded session, you'll get free money coaching from me with clear action steps that will help you scale your business more easily. And of course, as a guest on the show, you'll be able to promote your business and get some extra exposure. I'm doing this on a first come, first served basis. So head on over to www.thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your biz breakdown session today.